Being the bigger person. Being the bigger person. What does that mean? Being the bigger person. So, in order to be the bigger person, this means that your level of consciousness should surpass that of the person that you're intending to be bigger than. And you can't be the bigger person if you're looking for reasons to justify that you're right and that they're wrong. Because when we start to do that, we're no longer being the bigger person, but we're being just like them, the person in front of us. So when you're trying to be the bigger person, you got to understand that this means that you have to take low. This means now that you have to humble yourself. This means now that you have to have a little more wider view of the situation than them. This means that you might have to put yourself in their shoes to see how is it that they're not capable of seeing what is it they're trying to show them. And the Lord is requiring that of us believers to be able to do that, to have that spirit of discernment, to see that, hey, listen, this is a case where my brother or my sister is deprived of understanding, and how do I help to restore them? So it's no longer about you being right and you getting your point across, but it's more so, how can you impart the deficiency that you see within your brothers and sisters, through trying to empathize with them. And I think like this is the challenge, man, because sometimes, you see it and you want to leave them to their own devices and say, man, like, yo, if you don't get it, you just don't get it. But we can't take on that approach. You know what I mean? Because the Lord has given you something. Because that understanding that you have, you didn't arrive at it on your own. And at one point, you were sitting in that very seat that person is sitting in, where you didn't understand it. And you didn't get something. And you know what? You wanted someone to exercise patience with you. You wanted someone to have a little more leniency in trying to share and impart some kind of insight. You know what I mean? So that you can get that moment where you say, man, I get it. So you have to be patient. We have to be patient with our brothers and sisters, man. And I think like with Christ, man, he says, vengeance is mine, I will repay. He says, if your enemy hunger, feed them. If they naked, clothe them. And he tells us to do all these things. And he says that when we do all these things, then shall we be like our Father, which is in heaven. And for me, when I read that scripture, it's all about character building. It's all about character building, because you have to take on a particular mindset, man, to do something for somebody that you don't feel is deserving, you know what I mean, of whatever blessings you're about to give them. It takes a lot to do that. It takes a lot to pick up that phone and knowing on the other end that that person is only calling you because they need something from you. And once they're good, you can't reach them. And if you do reach them, they're not available to reciprocate the love that you once showed them when they were in need. And they'll hang up, and then another time they need you, they'll call again. And when they need you, they'll call again. And each time you have to show up and bless them. And that's like, for me, like when I do it and those around me see it happening in real time, they're looking at, they question like, yo, why is it you keep putting yourself in a position to be used? And I said, man, like, yo, they're not using me. You know what I mean? In their head, they might figure, man, they're just calling to get resources or whatever, or understanding or insight, but they're not using me. In their head, they might think they're doing so, but I'm performing a service. The Lord have blessed me. I asked him to use me as his servant. I asked him to use me for his righteousness. So now that I'm being used and there's no glory that comes with being used, I can't take offense to it. I have to be able to be used in a capacity that doesn't come with glory, but comes with more so of being the example. So being the bigger person is kind of like that, you know what I mean? You're put in a position, the Lord have blessed you and give you an opportunity to be utilized for his glory. So whatever information you might be giving them, or whatever resources you might be imparting to those that are not grateful, hey, listen, man, the Lord is going to replenish whatever is it that you have given. You know what I mean? And you can't worry about that. But it's how do you perform your service? How do you stand up as a believer and do what is it that the Lord have put in your heart to do? And if it's to help people, then that's what you do. You don't get to pick and choose who you want to help. You don't get to pick and choose who's deserving of that help. Because if they come to you, that means that you provide the service. That's it. No question and no scrutinizing and I don't like you and last week when I needed you, you weren't there. Man, listen, just help. Just help anyway. Because all you're doing is storing up treasures in heaven. You see, you understand something that they might not quite be there yet to understand. Maybe until it's done to them. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, the Lord have blessed you to be a blessing. So continue to bless them anyway. This is Kanai once again telling you, stop existing, start living. Peace.